يا من صليت بكل الأنبياء، يا من في قلبك رحمة للناس، يا من ألفت قلوبا
بسم الله الرحمن الرحيم. الحمد لله رب العالمين، والصلاة والسلام على سيدنا محمد الصادق الوعد الأمين، وعلى آله الطيبين الطاهرين، ورضي الله عن أزواجه وذرياته وأصحابه وأحبابه والتابعين، وعنا معهم برحمتك يا أرحم الراحمين. أما بعد، السلام عليكم ورحمة الله تعالى وبركاته. We are with Ramadan, and some people, they live a contradiction. Ramadan wants to offer us a chance to come clear and come clean without this contradiction that we live in. Some, especially young people, they seem to think that they're not powerful enough to discipline themselves except in Ramadan. But that itself is a contradiction, because in Ramadan they seem to discipline themselves. They seem to be able to refrain from doing things that they were doing outside of Ramadan. And that by itself shows us that we actually can do it, but there is no willpower to do it. Ramadan offers us that strength to have a willpower, to train us to have a willpower, to discipline ourselves to become better people. Because if you can do it in Ramadan, and you can refrain from doing evil and saying evil and thinking evil during the day of Ramadan, it means you do have the willpower to carry it on throughout the year, but you're not willing to. So exercise that. Strengthen your willpower in Ramadan so it can carry you for longer than or beyond Ramadan. You see, oftentimes in Ramadan, people, young people, and that should also be a point. They, instead of before Ramadan, they gather around to go to this coffee shop, or to go to this place, or to go to this home or their friend's house and meet up, and etc. and all that. But maybe in this Ramadan we want to try something different. Maybe we want to try to have those young people meet up at the masjid for Taraweeh. Meet up at, let's say they find a masjid, they meet up at Taraweeh there, they pray, after prayer they talk, they socialize, but they all come and pray. And that's also for them to be better people, to be exposed to Allah's mercy, Allah's blessings for them. And as well as important is that they start training themselves for the last 10 days of Ramadan, where they want to spend more time praying and more time with Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala. The implicit idea here is getting the young people, and everyone really, to spend more time with Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala. Instead of going to the malls and going here, that people used to do, now meet up at the mosque. Make it fun, make it pleasant. It's not a burden, it's actually a great honor and a great reward that you will get. It's a relief, and therefore let's ask the groups, whether young people, men, women, meet up at the masajid for Taraweeh, stay for some Qiyamul Layl as well, etc., etc., etc. You can do it because you've proven that you actually have the willpower. Before the flower dies, before you're become too old and too sick and too busy. You witness and you see people who are no longer able to walk, and now they use a cane, and long years have left an effect on their faces. Those people used to be filled with energy and activity when they were young, and now they're no longer there. And you know what? We will be there sometime when we are no longer as active, we're no longer as energetic, we no longer have that time of the youth, and therefore do things before you're unable to do them, because then you might regret that. You know the hadith where the Prophet sallallahu alaihi wasallam is reported to have said, لن تزول قدما عبد يوم القيامة حتى يسأل عن أربع. You will not be passing the test of Qiyamah until you're asked about four things. عن عمره فيما أفناه, about his age, how did he spend his life, how did she spend her life, وعن شبابه فيما أبلاه, and about his youth, how did he use up his youth, وعن ماله, and about his wealth, how did he earn it and how did he spend it. So these are four questions, but notice two about time and the other two about money, right? The four questions. The two about time is on your whole life, how did you spend it, and on your youth, how did you use it up? As if, because youth is you're using it up. And also about money, how did you earn it and how did you spend it? So let's prepare ourselves and prepare our answers. And also I want to say something also as well for the young people, where the Prophet sallallahu alaihi wasallam told us about 7 people who will be granted a shade, yani mercy, in the day of judgment, where no one is granted a mercy but those who are granted a mercy, and among them شاب نشأ في طاعة الله, a young person who has grown up, who grew in the obedience of Allah. That's a person who will have that shafa'ah, who will have that shade in the day of judgment, where no one is, others are having a shade. What prevents any one of us from being that? That tawfiq from Allah and the will to want to do it. I am sure many of you have already seen a lot of people who attend the masajid during Ramadan, and the masajid are filled with the musallis, with the people who are praying and those who are reading the Quran, and Mecca and Madina are filled with those who are attending to do Umrah and Ziyarah, and people are charitable in that month. So you see this one is praying, and that one is reciting, and that one is giving charity, and the other one is making dua. Where are you in all that? People are competing. Where are you in all that? A lot of people are satisfied by wishful thinking. Oh, I want to change. I'm waiting for the right time. That's called wishful thinking. Until something happens and he no longer can do what his wishful thinking wanted to do. The time, my dear beloved, to change is now, and now is the right time. Let's take advantage of Ramadan. Bismillah. Assalamu alaikum wa rahmatullahi ta'ala wa barakatuh.
يا من صليت بكل الأنبياء، يا من في قلبك رحمة للناس، يا من ألفت قلوبا بالإسلام، يا حبيبي يا شافعي يا رسول